with Remko, Daniele, and Oscar. Daniele, can we start with you? Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what it is that you're doing? Because you're the press officer at DJ Mag Italia.
Yes, I'm Daniele Spadaro. I'm an Italian journalist and PR. I work in the Music Institute full-time from '96, and for journalism, I'm a contributor of DJ Mag. I have my own digital magazine, and I'm a freelance.
Yeah.
And about PR, press office, I work for a lot of festivals in Italy and Europe. I'm consultant for Jukebox PR, and I was in Italy press office of Decibel Open Air, Social Music City, and a lot of venues and DJs and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm. And your own music platform or dance news, it's called Spadaro News,
Yes,
right?
I have my own website.
Yeah.
That's the platform for my press offices. I have also my own digital magazine that is Danceland, where I share all the news related to the Italian market. And I'm also, last but not least, consultant for brands, events, not strictly related to electronic music. When they need in Italy someone that knows the media and the strategy, good luck for me, they call me.
Yeah, and how did you end up in the electronic music industry?
This is a very long history. My first life, I was a sport journalist. I fell in love with house music, thanks to Frankie Knuckles. I say, wow, what is happening? The world is changing. And I remember very well in '96, '97, I went to Street Parade and Energy in Zurich. I saw 20,000 people dancing in an indoor stage. I say, it's incredible. In the half of August, all these people dancing for electronic music. Something's going to happen. The music is changing. The world is changing. Something new is coming. Let's forget that in '97 arrived at Daft Punk, Prodigy, and Chemical Brothers.
Yeah.
And that was the new game
Yeah.
we were to be part of. But to be honest, I never thought that we could arrive to this level in Amsterdam with all these festivals, in Ibiza, in Miami, in Tulum, everywhere. Also in Italy, even if Italy is a little market, to be honest, for our industry. But Italians are huge fans of electronic music, and we are everywhere.
Yeah.
In every festival, it's easy to find Italian fans.
Yeah. How do we recognize Italian fans?
Always.
Yeah.
Now because they have fun and we move the ends.
Oh yeah, of
when
course.
we move the ends, it means you are meeting an Italian guy.
Passionate fans.
Yeah.
Passionate.
That's the reason why headphones were invented. So we put the headphones in
course.
the air and we can move the ends talking. It's true.
Thank you so much, Remko.
My pleasure.
Hi, welcome. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you're doing.
I'm Remko. I'm founder of Moonjelly agency, which is a data-driven marketing agency specializing in mostly music. So we work for artists, labels, promoters all around the world. My background is actually advertising, so I've been in one of those advertising guys that worked throughout the whole world. I ended up in New York at one point.
At what kind of company?
I worked for the bigger agencies when I started out as a youngster, like BBDO, Jong and Rubicam, and in the end of my career, I worked in New York for an Australian ad agency, by the way. We worked for a lot of companies, but mainly for Pepsi and PepsiCo brands. And at that time, which is about almost 10 years ago, a lot of these Dutch DJs became really popular in the US.
Yeah.
You had... I even remember that Sensation White came to New York when I was working there, so the whole town was buzzing. But you know, people knew Tiesto and Armin van Buuren, but then they knew Hardwell, Afrojack, Nicky Romero, all the other guys. And then I started working for Nicky Romero.
Yeah, at Protocol, right?
Yeah, and then after a few years, I got so many questions from other artists and also from my network saying, "Hey, you're the marketing guy. Pull that EDM trick for me. You know." Tell me how it works.
Yeah.
Why became these kids so big? And I would explain this. A lot comes down to marketing.
Yeah.
And that's when I founded Moonjelly. Also to help a lot of these youngsters who were aspiring to be either artists and still stuck in their bedrooms. And I just wanted to give them, and still with my team, give them the opportunities to do your own marketing.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, you can distribute your own music. You can find your own gigs. And when it comes down to becoming more popular, you can know everything about marketing yourself.
Can you give us a successful case?
From one of the smaller DJs.
Well,
at the end of the day, it's not just about the case, it's also about the mentality you have. And what I see, especially in some emerging markets, And I think one of our clients is actually, I'm looking at Ricardo, one of my team members, but one of our clients is actually from the Philippines that are here, and their dream was to be at ADE.
Mm-hmm.
And with all the knowledge we have, and it's not that, success is not measured, we don't measure success in the amount of streams they have or the amount of followers they have on social media, but more, are they willing to invest in their own artist brands, and are they making steps? And last year they said, we've listened to you, we've saw you at some seminars and conferences, we're willing to take the step to build our brand and work hard, and our dream is to be at ADE. And here's to 2022, and they're at ADE.
Cool.
And they also were planning to have a gig here. That's a bit tricky still, but that's something that that warms my heart. We also work for bigger artists, bigger labels. One of our biggest clients, our Sunnery James Ryan Marciano. To be honest, it's much easier task to think of concepts and build that brand than it is for smaller artists.
Yeah, making a dream come true for a smaller artist is a different kind of reward, I think.
Yeah, so we share all our knowledge. Yeah. So we have a library with everything we know you can find in a library, and there's still a lot of kids making use of it, and it's not a secret. No. It comes down to execution.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Oscar, Head of Business Strategy.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about what you do exactly in in your current position.
Yeah. So Head of Business Strategy at TicketSwap. I'm responsible basically for looking at new opportunities, so looking at new business propositions, new vertical markets, new product propositions. Also responsible for brand partnerships, which is new for this year. So we tested out some brand partnerships throughout the summer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the summer was really, really busy also because we saw a lot of traction on the platform because of Corona or COVID. The pandemic, because of the pandemic, a lot of events were postponed, so a lot of active tickets were still on the market. On the new dates, some fans were able to go, but most fans weren't able to go, so they wanted to sell their tickets. So we saw a lot of traction on the platform. And that's an opportunity for brands, because brands want to target specific audiences, and we have those audiences on the platform. Yeah. And we are able to target specifically based on interest, based on multiple dynamics. And that's interesting for brands, and that's what we wanted to test out this year. Yeah. And we had some success cases with brands such as Heineken, Red Bull, Van Moof, so that was great.
Cool. Yeah. Congratulations on that.
Thanks.
I have a question for you. Can you still make it as an artist without a real business strategy?
Without a business strategy? Yeah, I think so. You can start from being passionate, and sharing your passion on, for instance, social media. So I think we have one panel session also, or podcast session also with Tim from Co-Spooky. When you have a platform such as a TikTok, you're really passionate about making music and you're sharing it, you can still make it without a business plan. Yeah. But once you get that traction, then you need a business plan to build a sustainable model.
Yeah, and to keep up with everything that's happening around you, right?
Yeah. So if you want to be more professional, you need a business plan. Yeah. If you want to stay like an amateur and just making music and sharing it because you're passionate, I mean that's a thing as well, right? If that's your thing, if you want to keep on doing like that, you can do it like that. But if you want to be a professional, you need a model.
Yeah. Yeah. If I can add, but this doesn't go for just bedroom artists. I think most of the artists don't have a business strategy. Mm-hmm. And what people tend to forget, to be honest, it's not something nice to say for people who are really passionate about music and it comes from the heart. Mm-hmm. But in the end, it's a music business. Yeah. So we can all play that it's, we have all these media technology that can help you further and can give you some attention and grow recognition. But to be honest, how many musicians did TikTok produce in comparison with all the attention seekers we have from TikTok that are shining in the limelight, and then start making music. Yeah. Whereas their only talent was to be funny on a social media platform. Yeah. So in my opinion, I totally agree. It has to start out from something it comes from sort of passion. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you want to make it worthwhile, or you want to you want to get that recognition from your friends and family that you're not a crazy kid and in your bedroom making weird music. Then everybody needs a business strategy because it's a music business, and And if there's like, I just read the other day, it's like 100,000 tracks get uploaded to DSPs every day. You know,
What are DSPs?
distribution platform. So
Yeah.
like Spotify. So
Yeah.
if Spotify uploads 100,000 tracks a day, how are you going to get any attention?
Yeah.
You know, without thinking of beforehand.
Yeah. How do you get attention?
I think it's totally true. It's the difference, in my opinion, between hobby and job.
Mhm.
For
Yeah,
starting,
exactly.
for passion, it's okay in the bedroom or making music, but if this has to become a job, it needs a strategy. But for me, the business plan is necessary in everything we do now in our life. If I have to choose a new washing machine, I have to study the prices,
Yeah.
how they work, the new model. So I don't know why. Maybe a lot of people, when they have to buy a new car, they study everything, all the prices, all the assets. And when they start to make music, they say, oh, okay, I put on Spotify a track, let's see what's going to happen, and maybe 4 clicks and stop. And say, why it didn't work? Because you didn't have a business strategy. This is essential in everything. Andy Warhol told it in the 70s, no? That if nobody knows what we do, because we are not doing anything important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, I mean, it's about the objective, right? When you have an objective, you're going to work towards that objective. If the objective is to have as many likes or as many follows, maybe it's not a business plan, it's to seek attention, but it's still working towards that objective.
Yeah.
And if your objective is to professionalize or be in the music business, you need a business plan.
Do you still think that authenticity and a business strategy can go hand in hand? Can you be a successful artist without losing your authenticity?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but the same goes for every brand. You know, that it's the only thing you have to prove, not necessarily prove, but every brand has a purpose as well, and it's also it's probably best described within your brand story, the journey you take people with you. You know, the brand journey, and if that's authentic, people are very eager to jump on the bandwagon. If not, you know, that will probably drop you because it's too commercial.
Yeah.
And that's what we see worldwide happening, especially in emerging markets. That if you come with a lot of, you know, if especially EDM became really popular, so a lot of these emerging markets bought license from bigger events, staged an event, and then thought the market will grow.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, you need some authenticity. Yeah, it needs to come from within the market itself.
Yeah.
So for me, it can go hand in hand. And, you know, people think business is a dirty word or marketing is a dirty word, but at the end of the day, it's all about interactions. It's about logical thinking. You know,
We have to pay the bills eventually.
at the end of the day, it's you know, it's if you compare it to buying a piece of bread at a bakery, you know, he also wants to make you feel proud of what he made.
Yeah.
And that's the essence of what marketing is all about. You know, and if my bakery can, you know, get me to buy into his story and journey, I'll be his buyer, but also his friend forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Daniele, building an artist is like building a brand.
Of course.
I think artists are like a product that we have to view an artist as a product, except for the fact that an artist is still a human being. What do you think are the similarities or the differences?
No, I think it's the same thing because related to what we were talking about before, it's important to have a strategy, to follow a strategy, and not to change ideas every day because maybe a fan base don't like that. Maybe we have to think to the final result, to the goal, to the end where we want to arrive, what we want to be, and where we want to go. This for me makes all the difference in the world. So, of course, time has changed. Now we have social networks, we have Spotify, we have a lot of way for becoming famous in a bit. But it's not important to become famous, but to remain.
Yeah,
to
longevity is important.
With contents, of course. This makes always the difference because one shot, everybody can do a one shot in his life.
Yeah.
But to have maybe 10 tracks, 10 gigs on a main stage on a festival is not so easy. It's only for a few artists. I started in the 90s and I see the old school DJs are still there. I'm not sure in 2060, 2050, how many DJs of now will still there to be at the top. Because Armin van Buuren, just to make the biggest example for me, of a big artist. Started in the 90s, in the 80s, and always he did the same things in the best way, using, of course, promotion and social media, but offering contents, offering music, offering an experience. And that's what they need, all the new artists, to find the right way or compromise. In Italy, compromise is not a bad word, maybe abroad, I don't know. in the good meaning, compromise, a middle point between contents and strategy of promotion and marketing. But yes, to arrive to the end of the point, to build an artist or an event is like to create and sell a product.
Yeah.
Of course.
But can I add to that?
Yeah, of course.
Because I think there's one huge difference, and you also mentioned it. Like, we shouldn't look at artists as a product, because look at Avicii.
Yeah.
Exactly. That went really wrong.
Yeah.
And I think the big difference between, like, music is emotion, right? So the engaging part of music is the emotion. So following an artist is emotionally driven.
Yeah.
If you look at a brand, the brands want to tap into the emotion, but it's not, initially it's not emotionally driven, right? You need a product. You don't need a DJ. So that's the biggest difference there. And I think emotionally driven engagement is one of the best ways and the most engaging ways. So that's the main difference between a brand, like a product brand, and an artist brand.
I agree with you, and I think it's also really something we have to look out for, be careful with, that we don't like over saturate an artist with gigs and promotions and stuff like that, because I think the teams around an artist sometimes forget that it's actually a person. If we take Avicii as an example, but I know that there are a lot more other artists who
I have a very strong opinion on that. Yeah? I think there are not many artist teams that are rightly equipped for the the context of an artist brand nowadays.
Yeah.
So if you are as an artist, and you're solely responsible for that as well, if you still pick people to come into your team who think traditionally, you get into situations where you get oversaturated because their business model is based on touring and streaming nowadays.
Yeah, but it's so funny to me, because I think it's a smarter move to take it easy a little bit more, so the artist can like do shows over a longer period of time, instead of just like.
But it's not just the touring; it's the whole business sense and the business approach you take, and it's very traditional. Yeah. Oscar and me, we talk, I think, for years now about opportunities within ticketing, within data. There's so many opportunities to expand your business, but if you choose to focus solely on touring and streaming, and the only human interactions you have is based on a face-to-face or something people digitally, it's almost like, and then we talk really about products. So you're just guiding your artists to make sure that people are only push a like button, push a play button, leave their email address so you can do nothing with it, buy tickets. So it's also a very transactional model. You know? And I think we hit a right spot if you say, listen, an artist is also a human being. And there's to a certain extent you can exploit that from a business sense. Yeah. But the other hand, the market and the world has evolved so much with media technology. There are numerous ways to make it easy for your artist and still exploit it to the fullest if you're a manager.
Should mental health also be part of the business strategy?
100%.
Of course.
100%. Definitely. But it was correct to talk about Avicii and mental health. And this is the worst example of a management that considered Avicii just a cash machine. We all watched the documentary. I watched the premiere during Amsterdam Cement many years ago, and Avicii was still alive. I came out of the premiere like after watching A Clockwork Orange. I was really shocked because this was an abuse of a young boy. And so also the management, they don't have to love the artist. It's not family's business, but preserve them, to take care of him, because not abusing of an artist, less gigs, less streaming, less of everything, they can go ahead for 30 years, 20 years. if the abuse of him, of a lot of artists, many gigs, and also this is a bad thing for a market. In Italy, we have this trouble. When a DJ has a hype, all the clubs want him or want her. So I always saw, I don't want to say any names because money are money, that maybe came in Italy in summer 10 times. And after this, game over because there is this DJ in the club. No, I just saw him. Let's go. No, I just saw him. So for me, also booking agency have a big responsibility.
Exactly.
Not to sell them. For me, old school rules. Big artists, you have to come in each country once or twice in a year. That's it. Maybe summertime and winter time. So you create, the baths, the
exclusivity.
Yeah, exclusive. If it's, I remember a female DJ, but it's not her fault. In September, it came 4 Saturdays in Italy in a row. Why? And of course, you take a lot of money because you can offer everybody once a year. You get a lot of money at the moment, but in a long way, you lose the business.
Yeah.
So it's important that the team consider that. Don't abuse the artist because they can lose the business, they can destroy the person. Yeah. And it's not a good model of business. Maybe the upcoming artists won't follow this agency. We say, no, you don't work in the best way. And mental health is very important. Now sports are discovering the mental health too. Yeah. Because after COVID, the football players play every week. NBA players play every day. And so I'm very curious to see about sports, what happens after the World Cup. Yeah. For me, we are all the sportsmen. Football players destroyed. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't have to play so much. It's the same for the DJs. They shouldn't have to play so many times.
Okay. And I think that nowadays there are more opportunities than just being at a club or just performing on stage to actually drive revenue. Yeah. And I think that maybe in some ways the music industry is still a little bit conservative and not hopping on all of those opportunities. Like the things we discuss with the data strategies and looking at the opportunities there, I think there is still a lot to be learned, but you need some pioneers to do it and to build a successful showcase, and then people can learn from it. But it's probably scary because the way that we know how to make money with the music is by playing and by trying to sell your music. Yeah.
But the way we go now, it's almost a dead end, to be honest. Yeah. And I might say it very strongly, but I see so many. We do a lot of audits, and when we see artists struggling, and they come to us, they're like, "Hey, can you help us?" And it always go like, "Hey, we need to convert more of our social following." It's not your following. It's from Meta. It's from TikTok. They own your data. So at the end of the day, if you look at your business strategy. And if we can build all the marketing funnels you would like, but if it converts to a payout at Spotify and you invest so much, it's not going to work. Every normal business manager would see that. And the same goes for touring. You can say, the pandemic happened, it was a coincidence. Yeah, but it should have raised all the alarm bells saying your business model is not sustainable.
And what is the solution?
The solution is to look maybe in a broader perspective and say, okay, what is the business strategy? What are the goals? And if you're really serious about your business, and as you said, you want to stay relevant, you might also have to look old school, build scarcity. That means that you probably the boss goes up, your media value goes up, maybe your fee goes up, and it means also maybe playing less and expand more into different territories with your products, or maybe focus on merch. Or maybe focus on what we also discuss is like there's a club and you can also build different experiences within the club. Stevie Aoki has a whole program for fans you can buy of whenever he plays. That also means he has to play less. Yeah. On the other hand, he collects data, so that means that he probably can also work with affiliates to probably sell these people other stuff throughout the year. Yeah. So it's a different approach. It's maybe more of a holistic approach, but also to preserve your artist, which is a human being, which also needs to be mentally and physically healthy to produce the utmost. Yeah. I've worked with artists that, like you said, they got a hit, so they start touring so much they don't have time to go back in the studio. Yeah. There's no follow-up hit. And then within a year, they're irrelevant and they have to start from scratch. Yeah. Whereas if the management would have said, hey, listen, we built that scarcity, we put you in the studios, you can build more hits, because that's the basics of a business strategy. You see, so at the end of the day, when I said in the beginning, I think artists should be really aware of, what is your team? Who do you going to surround you with?
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, you're probably going to work with people who know how to exploit artists, and then you're a product. Then you're probably, for them, you're interesting for 3 or 4 years, and then they'll find another Martin Garrix.
Yeah.
They'll find another Avicii. And I think that's also something that's not being discussed often enough within our industry, is saying, are the people who are running the business right now the right people to run that business?
Yeah. Oscar,
Yep.
we're going to move to a little different topic.
All right.
What are the latest trends on promoting artists and music these days? Because you already told you don't have to go to the plugger at the radio station anymore.
Yep.
You're in control yourself. You're almost like the music label yourself as an artist, maybe in the beginning. Do you experience or notice any trends on how to publish your own music?
Well, I'm not I don't have the right knowledge and experience on publishing music, but I think there are new opportunities on promoting your music or promoting yourself as a brand.
Yeah, sorry, I meant promoting.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I look at the things that we are able to do from the TicketSwap perspective, again, we have a lot of data on the platform. We have over 9 million users. We monitor the behavior of those users, so which tickets you bought, you sold, or which tickets you looked for. We can see what the lineup was from these events. We can see that you went to a certain concert, and based on that, we built an interest profile of these fans. With this interest profile, we're able to target specific audiences. I love that about Sonny James and Ryan Marciano. They're trying out different stuff. They're diversifying. This is exactly what you need to do as an artist. Try stuff. It's okay to fail, but then you find some new ways in how to express yourself and add that to your business model.
Mm-hmm.
But from TicketSwap perspective, what we were able to do was create a segmentation within our database of fans that had an interaction with Sonny James and Ryan Marciano on the platform, and communicate with these fans directly, because we have the opportunity to send push notifications, for instance. Because sending emails is really old school, and we have a mobile application, so
Can still be effective though.
we can reach an audience directly in their back pockets, right?
Yeah.
So that's really, really effective.
And does TicketSwap offer like a digital activation, or is it just a pop-up or a push notification with like a flyer, or is it like, can you do like a game? I know you guys also like make games.
Yeah, we do a lot of different stuff, and I think that we don't have a one-size-fits-all model.
No.
And I don't believe in a one-size-fits-all model. I think, again, we're trying to look at the objective of a brand or for a certain campaign, and then see what elements that we are able to offer, or what kind of tools within our portfolio will help to get there effectively and efficiently. So for Sonny James and Ryan Marciano, we were able to do like an exclusive pre-sale for their show, and I think like this in this example, it's unique because they have their own show, and for certain artists, they're not in a position that they have like these huge show in the Ziggo Dome, but these guys have. So we're able to do like a pre-sale for that event, and we're able to target specific audience, and then we used incentives. So for instance, you had to pre-register for the pre-sale, and we said if you pre-register and you buy your tickets in the pre-sale, you're able to win merchandise, like exclusive merchandise, meet and greets, like all of these value propositions or values for as a fan, which actually generated a lot of traction and a lot of pre-registers, and through these pre-registrations we were able to identify the fans, like the real diehard ambassador fans who buy their tickets like in the pre-sale and are really dedicated towards Sonny James and Ryan Marciano, and that's value for them as well to identify this.
It was the best campaign we ever ran.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Oscar.
Unfortunately, the event got cancelled because last year we had
COVID.
COVID.
Oh, yeah.
So the Dutch government was quite harsh on those things. But like Oscar said, we were able to, because when you build marketing funnels, you have to bring them like from scratch. You build them from social media following, and that takes a really long time. So to work with a data set where you're able to engage with people who are already expressed interest in your artist is very valuable. And to have such a partner, you don't get it from Spotify, you don't get it from Meta, you don't get it from TikTok. These kind of partners are able to help you move forward.
Yeah, plus we're really in the center of the audience, right? Because we centralize the demand and supply of tickets, and the tickets are related to music, so we're really in the center. We get approached by a lot of labels these days as well for the promotion of music, like pre-save an album. And when we have the right, if that's the objective, to have as many pre-saves of an album on Spotify, because this will help to make the album perform well when it's launched. When we have the right incentive, and we put that on the platform and do the right targeting on the platform and able to approach like the right audience, it will take off instantly. It's insane.
Yeah. Did you know all this, Daniele?
I think everything is perfect. What described. I don't have anything to add. No, seriously, I think it's important to be interactive with the fan base using all the new media, because of course socials are not enough. Just the door that opens maybe all the market, but contents and being interactive with fans to create something that fans can become part of the game, and to stay close to the idols can make all the difference in the world. Than to have a frozen promotion that doesn't give any kind of emotions to the fans.
Yeah, do you think it's important for artists to promote themselves on social media and being very human, fans recognizing certain situations or feelings that they have?
Yes, I think artists have to be realistic to show how they really are.
Yeah.
If the artist that is vegan or is not vegan, doesn't have to, or is against plastic or pro-plastic, just to give stupid examples, they have to be sincere, they have to be realistic, not to stay close to a campaign or a strategy because now it's a trend, because in this world trends change so fast that maybe you can arrive late to tell something that's just the past. So they have to be real, they have to be human, and to give the impression of what they really are, and fans feel that if their artists are sincere or not.
I think it's people love it when someone is also like a mythical figure, but on the other hand, it's like it can also be one of your neighbors. It can be someone who's relatable. So if you have like a DJ who is really exclusive in one way because he's only in your country for 2 times a year, you have the exclusivity of you feel very special being at the experience. And on the other hand, you can see the artist on social media just eating a plate of pasta or getting out of the shower. I was being on topic for the Italian people.
I'm proud of pasta. So.
As you should. So I think that's
and I think fans feel if artists are sincere or not, just with selfies, when DJ stops for pictures, but he doesn't want to do that, but he knows he has to do that. The face is totally different. Yesterday I met Seth Troxler in the street. He's a very, very human, so nice. He stopped with all the guys. Oh yes, I remember you. You came to look at me, and fan shocked. Seth stops. He goes to the fan to say, "How are you?" I can confirm you. I told to these guys, it's true. Because every time he looks at me, I had 2 interviews with him. For the first time, I thought it was a misunderstanding. Going to me, my brother, how are you? I remember you. Me? Sure. And that makes the difference. If a DJ stops and makes selfies and goes away, fans don't like it. There is passion, like David Guetta. David Guetta is so human still now. He's a very nice person. Armin van Buuren, also. This makes the difference. So to show on socials, it's important. But all of us have to show what we really are, not to be like an actor or to say something untrue just because now it's up on trends or not. Realistic, sincere, and this makes all the difference in everything we do every day.
Isn't it, at the end of the day, it's all about balance, right?
In everything of our life, everything is a compromise or a balance, the word you prefer.
Pros, cons, yin, yang. We're getting really philosophical here. Can I ask you another question about being an artist, how valuable is it to be like a resident or headliner right now? Is it like the most important thing for an artist to be successful, or?
For me, in Italy, in my opinion, the resident DJs is unfortunately something that belongs to the past.
Mhm.
In the 90s, people used to go to dance for a clubbing atmosphere because it was the same DJs, and you know what you're waiting for, and you can give from other DJs. Now the market business is so big that in Italy, I'm talking about Italy, if you want to have 3,000 people, you need a guest. Without a guest, it's impossible to have an event. You can have a club for 300, 400, 500 people,
Yeah.
but the business doesn't sustain that. It's impossible because now everything is really expensive. To open a club in Italy, say just opening the door, you have to spend maybe 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 euros just for opening it.
Is it for?
And only a top DJ can guarantee you 2,000 people, and it's hard because the week after, without the guest, of course, there's a crash of the attendance because people always. It's a game without an end, very, very dangerous. A lot of clubs after pandemic in Italy couldn't open.
No.
And so I would like the resident could come back and be part essential of the game. But now it's impossible. Only with resident DJs, the business doesn't work.
But there are differences per country. So if you look at, for instance, Ibiza, residencies are very valuable for certain artists because if you can say that you're a resident in certain club, it helps you to build your brand. So I think there are differences, but in Italy I can understand that it's like this. And also like the residency game changed a bit because now you have like a big artist brand and then the artist invites or the artist and friends.
Yeah.
And so the artist becomes the concept and invites other DJs. So the residency game changed a bit. But again, it really depends on the country where it would work and won't work.
Yeah, the artist can also be like a curator for the night. Yeah.
And you see that a lot here at Amsterdam.
Yeah, but also music has changed, the music availability. So I'm a bit older, so when you had resident DJs, they also had music because it was printed on vinyl and distribution was not that wide, and so they had music nobody else had. So you went to a club also to hear music, probably not a DJ didn't have.
Yeah.
Now music is everywhere and everybody can play the same music, so there's not a really distinction between a club or a DJ. So what I see, for instance, in techno happening is that some of these DJs are not publishing music but keeps them in their own sets, which makes them very, very scarce and very there's buzz surrounding these artists, because if you want to hear their music, it's not available on SoundCloud or Spotify or whatever. You need to go to the club.
Yeah.
So I'm really rooting to get back residencies, because I think the industry necessarily needs a sort of like reset, but it would help if you just start from the ground up again in smaller venues and build a better foundation than it is now.
And just to add on that vinyl part, that's why I love like Rush Hour.
Yeah.
They do a lot of crate digging, and you hear music that you wouldn't like find on Spotify yourself. That's what makes it so awesome, because it's so exclusive, right? Yeah, I love that.
Cool. Yeah, that's that you go to a party and you hear a record you really love, and you're just at home. You don't have the artist or the title, so you're really craving
Shazam
to
doesn't
hear.
work.
Shazam doesn't work. Yeah. Okay. We're going towards the end of the episode. I want to ask 2 more questions. Remko, you still have like banners and posters outside.
Yeah.
Is it as effective as digital alternatives, and why are people still just printing and putting out posters and abris? Because
what a great question, because I had this chat with one of the bigger record labels too. I'm a marketeer. I'm also I have a vast experience in advertising, and what the big brands always taught me is that you need media attention on all different levels.
Yeah.
You want to influence people in different ways. People get like 20,000-30,000 commercial messages a day.
Yeah.
Digital did really help to engage and target consumers more directly and make it more efficient. But at the end of the day, it also is about quality, and people, if they see, and that's what I love, for instance, about the Reinier Sonneveld campaign.
Yeah.
you see it everywhere.
Yeah.
So, but also the generic public also thinks like, hey, this guy is everywhere. There must be something. So you know,
Yeah.
if you target specifically to your target audience, you're just communicating within the bubble.
Yeah.
And within advertising, you always learn to engage new target audiences.
Yeah, that's a good takeaway that you what you just said about the bubble.
Yeah.
Because it's not all about data, it's about visibility as well.
Exactly, and to be honest, if you look at all the advertising campaigns that the past 10, 12 years, they've been dominated by digital, and that's often like a very sort of hit-of-run creativity.
Yeah.
But we all remember those commercials and advertising campaigns that really stuck with you, like Levi's 501 or the Nike Just Do It campaigns.
Yeah.
Because it's also telling a story in different layers that also resonates with you as a human. So I'm very I'm very pro above the line media, and I would say if people need to spend more money on marketing and branding. It's not just to be a sort of like it all not have to be efficient, but you also you build sort of legacy as well. So you need to be out there on the streets, on wild postering. You need to be in the bus stops. You need to be on TV as well. Not everything you can attention and you can vie for that. Not everything you can get through earned and owned media. It's not just PR and your own media channels. It's also a lot of paid. And and if you're investing in paid, digital, you can only do so much in digital. In the end of the day, if you look at the CPCs, at one point they go up again. And at the end of the day, but we can go on and on because then Oscar and Remko go teaming up, and he will say, hey, let's dig into the data and see how we can make it more efficient. But to be honest, it's also very rewarding, and maybe we sort of ego for an artist to see themselves on a huge billboard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's about the objective, right? But just to give an example, I had a meeting with Nick Adler, who's the business manager from Snoop Dogg, and he was driving from Schiphol to the city center. And he was like, "Who is this Charlotte de Witt? She's everywhere."
Yeah.
Like this is how you create the awareness. But then again, you have to understand that this is how you build the awareness in like during ADE. But then you have to follow up.
Yeah,
exactly.
because
So
you have to convert like the offline awareness to the digital awareness.
Yeah, so it's about the balance, the combination. But again, based on the objective. But if it's about building awareness, you could do with a poster campaign.
Yeah.
But if you want to sell music, you need to follow up.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be on Times Square on those billboards?
Yeah.
We
exactly.
put Sunny and Ryan there 2 years
I
ago.
don't want to be there.
No, we put Sunny and Ryan in the pandemic in the middle of. We got the opportunity to put them on Times Square on those billboards, and then we thought, we need to convert as well. Let's put a QR code.
Oh yeah.
It didn't do anything, of course, because it's not people going like, hey, there's Sunny and Ryan. Let's scan what they want. No, it has a different purpose. So at the end of the day, it's a cross media kind of campaign, and you need to align all the means you have to build that great brand story. But the other hand, I'm very much for like the outdoor, out of home campaigns, above the line campaigns. Yeah.
I mean, a QR code can work. Look at Coinbase during the Super Bowl, which was crazy.
Yeah.
But
it needs some good thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Daniele, I have one more question, and then we have to wrap it up because I think we're almost over time. Good conversation, though, guys. How important is the metaverse for engaging with fan communities, and is it something that I hear someone laughing in the audience? Is it something artists will shift from like offline performances to performances in the metaverse?
I think this is the new era, the future, the metaverse. Nobody knows if it will work or not, because we do all remember Second Life. It was a flop. Maybe metaverse will be new. Today, Jean-Michel Jarre, one of the pioneers of the electronic music, is out of his album, and this was created and built just related to the metaverse. It's still possible to assist to a concert, and I went to the presentation a few days ago in Italy, and it told that for him it's just the present, not the future. But we will have to discover if it will work for every artist, because jar is jar. No, you maybe can go nude in the street and say, I have a new album, and everybody, wow. If anybody else do this, the police arrive and arrest him, because it's not possible to create the same thing that works for everybody. But I think maybe very, very young generation with the same approach of the video games can appreciate metaverse. But if it works or not, this kind of interactive, to be honest, I don't know. I think it will work, and it can be a new zone where to have a promotion. But I agree that billboards, exposure, Ibiza. When I arrive in Ibiza, I see in the airports the advertising of Clapton, of Tomorrow, just waiting for my suitcase, just my heartbeat. So wow, this is my best place, because, you know.
Yeah.
So it's important in everything to find the right mix between all the new media, all the new strategy, all the new school, and
Balance
that's
again.
all. Yes, all of course.
Yeah. Oh, and where do you think we will be in like 5 to 10 years in promoting music? Do you have any idea on that?
Good question. I don't know. I think really metaverse and new dimensions where to live and being interactive. Maybe to have an image, like in a virtual game, when we are close to the DJs, to the artists, to the sportsmen, and to have like a meet and greet on another dimension, can be a new strategy.
Like
Maybe.
virtual reality? Or?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Oscar?
I mean,
Maybe. Question mark.
Yeah.
A big question mark about this.
I think metaverse is becoming like a dirty word, because it's like a collection of different technologies. Is
Yeah.
the metaverse? But if you look at promotion in music promotion in gaming, look at FIFA, for instance, like the playlist of music within FIFA. That was already promoting music.
Yes, for years.
I love it.
Because when I played FIFA, I wasn't a big gamer, but when I played FIFA, I could dream the music, because there was like a short playlist in those early games. And then you had like GTA, right?
Yeah.
Like all of that crazy music stations.
With
And,
someone inside.
Exactly.
Rap
Teloas,
music, hip-hop,
But then it evolved. Like you had virtual DJ sets in GTA with, I don't know, like Solomon was playing in the club.
Teloas also.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's a different world, but it was already like a couple of years ago, because I think FIFA was launched in the 90s somewhere, right?
Maybe.
It was already there. So we already built upwards from that point onwards to where we're at now. And I think now we're understanding better what the opportunity is.
Yeah.
Yes, Rockstar made a joint venture with Circo Loco. For
exactly.
also. So cross-mediality can be the right.
That's an opportunity,
Of course.
I'm just afraid that it becomes a sort of fashionable word for managers or teams of artists. Like, hey, we found another holy grail. Let's put all, when there's not even the real pioneers know what's going to happen. But I'm just, I love the word metaverse, and I'm absolutely sure it's going to be something. But my advice would be work on the business strategy first. Have a really open mindset of what is possible and what are the little steps we need to take to make sure we're going in the right direction. Because first of all, I think 99% of the market needs to change his business philosophy first in order to benefit from things like the metaverse or virtual reality or augmented reality or whatever technology might come up in the next 3 years.
One last question for you. What do you think about non-existing digital artists?
Oh, I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, it's part of the future, and the avatars that But I know even I think Elite Models also employs one of those virtual models.
Yeah.
I think it's great. It's part of Imagineering. It's part of the Disney strategy of creating icons who are probably virtual. I think it's something the Japanese have mastered for years. But then again, it's a choice. It's the same as how K-pop conquers the world. It's a sort of mechanics, it's a strategy. I'm all fine with it, but my personal take is I love real music.
Yeah, and it might oversaturate the music market, maybe.
But it depends on the adoption of the market or the acceptance by the market.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, if you look at car commercials these days, that's not an actual car.
No.
It's computer generated car, because they put the same car in different environments for different countries.
Yeah.
I can even go further. I just read a story about Bruce Willis who sent his deepfake rights, the IP rights, to a company because he doesn't want the actor anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's going to be, it's going to be. That's why I said it's going to be a wild, wild world out there.
Yeah.
And until you know how to deal with it, I think you need to be really, really focused on what you actually want to do.
Yeah.
And again, maybe I sound like a broken record, but it's about the objective, because you hear a lot of people saying, okay, I want to do NFTs, but what do you want to do with an NFT? Like an NFT is a piece of technology that can help you with a lot of things, but you need to know why you want to use it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you,
You're welcome.
everybody.
Thank you.
We have to wrap it up. Thank you so much, and have a great Eddie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No
Are
questions
there
from
any
the
questions left in the audience? Yeah, you and Oscar are question guys.
I guess it seems like the only viable business strategy is to just go for volume. Maybe that's just in my mind. But do you think like maybe similar to podcasting that artists can kind of build a sustainable, I don't know, like income just by building a small niche audience that they can like have a really strong connection with, and just, I don't know, similar to I think channels like Patreon, just engage with them and not have to go for volume in order to make it?
Yeah, I think volume is again, it depends on the objectives and the strategy you have. But if you don't have a strategy, you don't have an objective, a lot of these traditional strategies are focusing on volume and mass marketing. That means you're speaking out to the whole world, which is like an unmanageable task. I think if you kill your niche, I mean, I kill in a positive way, is like if you kill it and you own it, that is something that's much more viable and on a business level than it is to just go out and beat the world. And I think that's what tends to get overlooked, especially in our market. Is like as soon as you're on Spotify, you're available for everyone. But if you keep it like to yourself, and that's I know that's especially in music rights. You know, a lot of these managers are focusing on keeping the control on yourself and having all the IP rights and neighboring rights to yourself, so you're able to do and distribute it the way you want it to be. I think that goes for the whole business. I think it was like own your niche. It's better to. That's what we teach our younger artists as well. It's like, you know, it starts all with friends and family, to be honest. Yeah. And if it's like 50 people, that's fine. You know, don't sweat about the numbers. You know, don't do it for that like button or that pre-save button. You know, build your audience from the ground up, and eventually it will grow into something that's probably sustainable as a business. And if you don't then say to yourself, I want to go a step higher, I want to go bigger, then it's another objective, and then you can maybe scale up. But doesn't need to be. Well, you were saying that there's a lot of artists that have been around for 30 years that had their ups and downs, but they never went sky high and then fall down below. They had a sort of basis where they could always fall back on, and that's mostly because they stayed relevant amongst their own niche.
Yeah, and also to add to that, I mean, it's about the engagement with the community. I've seen Twitch streamers, for instance, with like 10,000 of followers make more money than people on YouTube with hundreds and thousands of followers. So it's about the engagement, because Twitch is a different platform. I mean, they're both streaming platforms, they're both video platforms, right? But the one has a more engaged audience and is able to make more money out of that, instead of the YouTube where you just throw out videos. And it has a different objective, because YouTube can also make you more visible. But I mean, again, so it doesn't have to be like a big audience. You can create a business model about a smaller audience and work with that and work your way up if that's the objective.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.